I want to tell you something nobody is saying out loud. There's a man at your gym. Quiet guy. Nothing special about him. But when he talks, people listen. When he walks in somewhere, the energy shifts. Not because he's loud or trying hard. Not because he's rich or good looking. It's something else. Meanwhile, there's another guy, flashier, louder, more confident on the surface. He's always trying to prove something. And everyone can smell it. The difference between these two men isn't luck. It isn't genetics. It's 5 specific things. But here's what nobody tells you. The real problem isn't that you don't know what these skills are. The real problem is you don't understand why you're missing them in the first place. Today, I'm going to show you not just the 5 skills, but the actual reasons you're struggling with them, because understanding the why is what actually changes you. Let me be honest with you. Most men today are operating from a place of scarcity, not strength. You grew up being told to be yourself, but nobody actually taught you what that means. You were told to be confident. But confidence without direction just looks like arrogance. You were told to respect women. But that turned into people-pleasing and weakness because you never learned the difference between respect and desperation. And here's the thing that nobody admits. Our entire culture is designed to keep men emotionally dependent and mentally weak. Social media rewards the loudest, most desperate guy. The system profits when you're insecure. Your attention is literally for sale. So it's not that you're broken. It's that you've been trained to be fragmented. The 5 skills I'm about to break down aren't random. They're the antidote to this fragmentation. But you have to understand what you're actually fighting against, or you'll never stick with the change. Number 1. Emotional intelligence, not just controlling emotions. Most guys think emotional control means not showing emotion. That's backwards. Real emotional intelligence is understanding what you feel, why you feel it, and what it's trying to tell you. Then making a choice, not reacting on autopilot. Let me give you a real example. I know a guy, Michael, mid-30s, good job, decent looking. But whenever something didn't go his way, he'd snap. His girlfriend would suggest something, and he'd feel attacked. His boss would give feedback, and he'd feel disrespected. He was living in a constant state of defensiveness. One day, someone asked him, "What are you actually afraid of?" He shut down. Didn't answer. But that question stuck with him. Turns out, underneath all that reactivity was fear. Fear that he wasn't enough. That if people saw the real him, they'd leave. So he was constantly proving something, constantly defending. The moment he named that fear, everything shifted. He didn't get rid of the emotion. He understood it. He stopped reacting to his girlfriend's suggestions as attacks and started hearing them as input. He stopped fighting with his boss and started actually listening. That's emotional intelligence. It's not stoicism. It's awareness. Here's how to practice it. Next time you feel angry, pause and ask yourself, what am I actually feeling underneath this? Rejected? Powerless? Disrespected? Name it. Sit with it for 10 seconds. Then decide how to respond. That's the skill. Most men skip this step. They go straight from trigger to reaction. The gap between those two, that's where your power is. Number 2. Intentional communication, the vulnerability that builds respect. Here's what people get wrong about communication. They think powerful communication means being louder, more dominant, more certain. Wrong. The most powerful communicators are the ones who are clear and honest about what they don't know. I knew a guy named James who was always trying to sound smart in meetings. He'd talk a lot, use big words, and over-explain everything. His boss would zone out. His team didn't respect him. Why? Because he sounded desperate to convince people, not confident in what he was saying. Then he changed one thing. He started saying less and being more honest. In a meeting, someone asked his opinion on something. Instead of launching into a speech, he said, "Honestly, I'm not sure yet. Here's what I'm thinking, but I could be wrong. What do you guys see?" The room shifted. People started actually engaging with him instead of tuning him out. Why? Because he sounded real. He sounded like someone who was thinking, not someone who was performing. Here's the practical part. Powerful communication isn't about more words. It's about intentional words. Before you speak, ask, will this add value? Or am I just trying to be heard? If it's the second one, stay quiet. And here's the deeper thing. A man who can say, I don't know, and I was wrong, is infinitely more powerful than a man who has to be right about everything. Because he's not spending energy defending his ego. He's spending it solving actual problems. That's the kind of man people follow. Number 3. Sexual integrity. Why this actually matters more than you think. Okay, this one's uncomfortable. But that's exactly why we need to talk about it. There's a reason I'm putting this third, not first. Because sexual integrity isn't about deprivation or judgment. It's about power. Think about it this way. Every impulse you can't control is a handle someone else can use to pull you. Every time you act on desire without thinking, you're literally training your brain to be reactive instead of proactive. You're building the neural pathways of a slave, not a master. I'm not saying don't have sex. I'm saying be intentional about it. A guy I knew, let's call him Tom, was always chasing women, validation, the next thing. He'd meet a girl, get obsessed, text her constantly, lose sleep. Then, when it didn't work out, he'd spiral. He thought he had a relationship problem. He actually had a self-respect problem. Here's what changed for him. He decided to be selective, not because he was saving himself for some perfect woman, but because he realized that every time he gave his attention and energy to someone who didn't deserve it, he was basically saying, my attention means nothing. I'm a low-value person. He stopped chasing. He started building. And weirdly, that's when women actually started getting interested. Not because he was doing it to attract them, but because he had actual direction and standards. The real skill here isn't saying no to sex. It's saying yes only to things that actually matter. That's integrity. And integrity is magnetic. Number 4. Discipline through purpose, not motivation. Most guys think discipline is some innate character trait. You either have it or you don't. That's why they fail. Real discipline isn't about willpower. It's about having a reason big enough that you don't need willpower. It's the difference between pushing yourself to go to the gym and going to the gym because you're building the body you actually want to live in. Here's the mistake. Guys try to be disciplined about abstract things. I need to be disciplined. Okay, disciplined about what? Why? What's the actual outcome? A guy named Alex told me he couldn't stick to anything. Every goal fell apart after 2 weeks. Then someone asked him, what do you actually want your life to look like in 5 years? He got specific. Not just, I want to be fit, but I want to be strong enough not to be tired playing with my future kids. I want to have built a business that gives me time. I want to be the kind of man my younger brother actually respects. Suddenly, the discipline wasn't hard anymore. Because it wasn't abstract. It was real. Here's how you build this. Write down one specific outcome you want in the next 6 months. Not a vague goal. Specific. Then break it into what you need to do weekly. Then just do that thing. No motivation required. Just follow the map. The discipline isn't the hard part. Knowing where you're actually going is. Number 5. Self-respect is a boundary, not ego. The difference between a man with self-respect and a man with ego is this. One sets boundaries to protect his peace. The other sets boundaries to protect his image. Most guys don't understand that distinction, so they end up either being doormats or being jerks. Real self-respect looks like this. You know what you stand for, and you enforce it quietly, not aggressively, not with drama, just with consistency. I knew a guy who kept taking jobs that paid well but drained him. He was good at it, but he hated it. He kept saying yes because he didn't want to disappoint people. His health fell apart. His relationships fell apart. He wasn't respecting himself. The day he quit wasn't some dramatic moment. He just decided, I'm not willing to trade my peace for money anymore. He enforced that boundary. People got mad. Some friends judged him. But something shifted in him. He started carrying himself differently because he was finally living in alignment with what he actually believed. That's self-respect. It's not selfish. It's actually the most generous thing you can do, because now you're showing up as the best version of yourself, not a resentful version pretending to be happy. Here's the practice. What's one boundary you need to set? Not a big dramatic thing, just one. Set it. Enforce it. Watch how your entire energy changes. The connection, why these 5 matter together. These 5 skills aren't separate. They build on each other. Emotional intelligence gives you the clarity to communicate intentionally. Intentional communication builds trust, which makes discipline easier because you're connected to people who actually matter. Sexual integrity keeps your energy focused on things that matter. And self-respect is the foundation that ties it all together. A man with all 5 of these doesn't need to try hard. He just naturally commands respect because he respects himself. He doesn't chase because he's focused. He doesn't perform because he's real. That's the guy people feel when he walks into the room. So here's what I want you to do. Pick one of these 5, just one. The one you know you need the most right now. Work on it for 30 days. Not perfection, just consistency. And share your progress in the comments. Not to brag, but when you say it out loud, it becomes real. You're not broken. You're just fragmented. These 5 skills put you back together. Start today.